So, how much do we really know about gender and sexuality? What lessons and wisdoms can we learn from our ancestors? And what do bamboos have to do with it? Let's learn more. Mabuhay or in Kapampangan, luwid kayo. It's me, Kirby Aralio, your friendly Pinoy historian and culture bearer. So if you like learning about our people's history, our people's culture, and everything in between, don't forget to like, share this video, comment down below, and please subscribe. June is Pride Month all over the world, and because many of you requested it, today's topic is all about gender and sexuality in the pre-colonial societies of what is now the Philippines. Now, I understand that gender and sexuality is still a very hot topic, a controversial topic, not just in the Philippines, nor in the Filipino diaspora, but also in the many societies all over the world, including the United States. But to understand our people's history and to fully appreciate our roots and the significance of our past, we really must look beyond our own personal prejudice, beyond our own standards based on our present day understanding of the world around us. We must keep an open mind. Who knows what lessons we may learn from the wisdoms of our ancestors? And I'm telling you, there's really a lot to learn from them. Lessons that would make our world today a much better place. Now, we also cannot expect to discuss every aspect of this topic in a short video like this. So for now, we'll start with a brief introduction from my own perspectives and knowledge as a Filipino historian and as a Kapampangan and Tagalog culture bearer. So without further ado, let's talk about one of my most frequently asked questions from viewers like you and from many of my students through the years. Kuya Kirby, how did our ancestors view gender? How did they treat queer people? Are there even transgender people in pre-colonial Philippines? Well, the answer is yes and no. I mean, it's complicated. No, because our understanding of the term trans and the terms within the LGBTQ itself are products of our modern day realities, not necessarily the same way our ancestors saw gender and sexuality. In reality, our ancestors' understanding of gender and sexuality was far too different than our own. In fact, in many ways, it was far more open, more progressive, and more understanding. So yes, people who today may identify themselves as trans or LGBTQ existed in our archipelago way before colonialism, maybe even since the beginning of time. And actually, there were many different terms that existed to describe many different gender and sexual identities and expressions throughout the diverse people and societies of our islands, throughout the many different, diverse, but interwoven indigenous cultures of our ancestors. Many, if not most, of these cultures saw and understood gender and sexuality as something that is fluid, colorful, and beautiful, as opposed to how it is often seen and taught in Western Christian societies, especially in a Catholic and colonized country like the Philippines, where there should only be men and women, that everything in between was a blasphemy, a sickness, a plague, something that is abnormal and must be eradicated. In stark contrast to what we have been taught, our ancestors did not see gender as a binary. They saw it as a spectrum, a fluid spectrum. And ever since the colonial period, we were raised with this somewhat narrow understanding of gender and sexuality. We, our people, have been raised to believe that everything is black and white, that there is absolutely no room for any shades of gray, let alone a splatter of many different colors. For the most part, our pre-colonial ancestors saw gender and sexuality as something that is personal, as an individual's own journey in life, but something that was also not divorced or isolated from that of the community, from the collective. Gender identities and sexual expressions were something that our ancestors were empowered to own and embrace without prejudice. Now, speaking as a Kapampangan culture bearer in the pre-colonial Luzon society and the indigenous Kapampangan culture and traditions, our ancestors celebrated the fluidity of gender and sexuality. And they saw this fluidity in almost all aspects of our life and the world around us. From the animals and humans here on earth to the deities up in the heavens, our diwatas, the gods and goddesses of our ancestors. Their genders and sexualities were understood as fluid, and they also saw it as something that could actually change through time. You know, as one goes through life, one's gender identity or their expression of their sexuality may actually change along with their life experiences. They never saw it as something that was static, and they never dwelled on restricting a person to a single label. Like water, it flows and can take on many different forms at any given time. And you know, this is not to say that there was no straight men nor straight women back in the day. This is also not to say that there was no gendered roles back then. But these roles and their perception of gender and sexuality was not rigid as it is today. Our ancestors understood queerness as something that must be celebrated and appreciated. And you know, not just accepted or tolerated. They celebrated it. They were proud of it. In fact, in the indigenous and pre-colonial Kapampangan society, a queer person was seen as a blessing and not a curse. They were seen and welcomed as special and powerful beings and not as weak and disgusting. Now again, there are many terms regarding gender and sexual identities and expressions from our ancestors. And honestly, there's just too many to be put in a single video like this. But for now, let's focus on the terms bayuk or bayugin and binabai, which many may have already heard of, but I bet many of you still don't fully understand what it really means beyond the shallow definitions we hear today. So first we'll look at how the Spaniards, especially the priests, recorded these terms, even how our colonial dictionaries defined these terms. Then we'll compare it and look into the wisdom behind it, the deeper roots and the significance of these terms from the indigenous perspectives of our own ancestors. First, we have a term that is actually familiar to many of us. Many of us have heard this term, binabayi in Kapampangan and binabae in Tagalog. Binabayi in Kapampangan or binabae in Tagalog literally means someone who acts like a babae or babae, a very effeminate person. And today, it is used as a derogatory term, as an insult, something that is abnormal and absolutely wrong. But our ancestors' perception of the binabayi was actually the opposite. Binabai in pre-colonial Kapampangan society was seen as a sacred blessing, not a sumpa or a bad curse. And this is rooted in our ancestors' reverence to Mother Nature, such as in their understanding of the tilapia, or the ema, the giant mud crabs, the manok or chicken, and other animals as gender-bending species. They saw the fluidity of gender as a natural part of Mother Nature. They saw it as perfectly normal and integral to Mother Earth. In fact, the binabayi were the treasured apprentices to their mothers in the matriarchal Kapampangan society. So yes, back then, it was considered lucky to have a child who was binabayi. Next we have bayuk or bayugin. The friar Diego Berganio recorded the terms bayuk and bayugin in his Vocabulario de la Lengua Pampanga, the oldest known Kapampangan Spanish dictionary published in the 1700s. In his historic dictionary, bayuk was defined as to sag or bend like a bow or a weighted bamboo. And bayugin was defined as one who bends, one who tends to easily give in to pressure, someone who was weak and vulnerable. And it was named after a local species of bamboo. And in the famous Boxer Codex, bayugin was defined as someone who ordinarily they dress as women, act like prudes, and are so effeminate that one who does not know them would believe they are women. Almost all are impotent for the reproductive act, and thus they marry other males and sleep with them as a man and a wife with carnal knowledge. The bayuk and bayugin were described by the Spaniards as men who dress up like women. They braid their hair with gold dangling at each end. and they perform healing rituals usually reserved for women. They also weave like women instead of going off to war or rowing for the datu like the men do. And actually, fun fact, they were also allowed to wear a sword around their waist, like the datus and the warriors, even if they do not go to war. So in short, their appearances was also a beautiful blend of how our ancestors saw the colorful gender spectrum and the fluidity of gender expressions. But sadly, the Spaniards accused the Bayuk and Bayugin as witches, as servants of the devils, and even as demons and sodomites. And because of colonialism, many Filipinos assumed that a Bayuk, Bayugin, or Binabayi would do disgusting things to men and children, and that they were often depicted as sexual predators and perverted maniacs, or in Tagalog, mga salot sa lipunan. Pero wait lang, what's the significance of bamboos to our ancestors? And how does it make a difference to how they saw and understood gender and queerness? While others may see the bamboo as weak, as saggy, and just an oversized weed or grass, easily bendable and breakable, our ancestors had a more enlightening view and understanding towards the bamboo. You see, bamboos were not seen as weak by our ancestors. In fact, they saw it as the opposite. They saw it as a symbol of an immeasurable strength. And, they saw the ability of the bamboo or the bamboo's ability to bend not as a sign of weakness, but instead they understood it as one's ability to adapt and survive. And more importantly, the bamboo and their ability to bend was seen as the embodiment of one's humility, one's wisdom, and one's virtue. Bamboos were seen and understood as the perfect embodiment of strength and resilience, of surviving even the worst of the typhoons, and even the driest, the hottest of the droughts. A bamboo can survive anywhere. It reminds our ancestors that one can stand tall and proud, but still be able to bend and dance gracefully with the wind like the bamboos. They saw it as one who can rise up to the highest peak, yet still be able to bow down and be humble, to express humility. Their ability to bend without breaking was also understood as the perfect balance between power and humility, between fortitude and elegance, between stability and flexibility, between enlightenment and survival. And this was how our Luzones or Kapampangan ancestors saw the Bayuk and Bayugin and the Binabayi as the heavenly embodiments of all these wonderful virtues. They were cherished as blessings to one's family and not as a curse that must be shunned. In other words, they were celebrated and not hated. They were respected and not humiliated. Today, queer people in the Philippines are known to give life and laughter to our people, and oftentimes creatively to lift the spirits of our communities. Yet oftentimes they were also seen as objects of ridicule. But back in the day, back in the pre-colonial realities of our ancestors, they were seen as highly spiritual, and they were taken seriously by our society. They were empowered and respected like the Babaylans, or what we call the Baluyan or Mamaluyan in Kapampangan. In fact, they were actually among the Mamaluyans, the sacred healers and spiritual leaders of our ancestors, the bridge between the spirit world and us humans here on earth, the vessels of the gods. They were at the pinnacle of our pre-colonial societies. They were highly revered and not ridiculed. And as mentioned in many of my videos, the Kapampangan society was, and in many ways still is, a very matriarchal society. So having a binabayi amongst one's children, or a bayuk and bayugin in one's family, was not just seen as special and lucky, but it was a sign of their blessings from the Diwatas, the priceless treasure and an honorable incarnation of the virtues our ancestors held very dear. They were beloved and not vilified or demonized. They were seen to possess the best qualities from both ends of the gender spectrum. The best of both worlds, ika nga. But sadly, today, the LGBTQ community, especially the transgender people, are not just misunderstood, but have actually been constantly under attack and literally murdered in the middle of the night. And more often than not, they are stripped of their humanity, dispossessed of their human rights, and deprived of genuine justice, just like what happened to Jennifer Laude. And of course, this is not to say that there was absolutely no injustices back in the day, but at least when it comes to gender and sexuality, our ancestors were far more respectful, they were far more understanding. They were definitely not backwards, nor uncivilized. Bending genders was not seen as a sin. The LGBTQ were not ostracized nor demonized. They were treasured and empowered. They were revered and beloved. And you know, there's really so much that we can learn from our ancestors. And I do hope that this introductory video would help open many minds about gender and sexuality. I hope it deepens our understanding of our people's beautiful cultures and interwoven histories. And I hope it helps in passing on these lessons from our ancestors and use this wisdom to make our world a better place, to light a brighter future for our children, for their children, their grandchildren, and so on. A future where they can thrive and prosper in a society where they are loved and empowered for who they are. A society, a future where there is genuine peace and justice in our communities. And again, I'm sharing from what I know as a Filipino historian and from my upbringing and perspectives as a Kapampangan and a Tagalog culture bearer. And of course, this is just a brief introduction into this topic, this beautiful topic. And honestly, I still want to talk more about our pre-colonial gender and sexuality as seen through our beautiful indigenous mythologies. So let me know in the comments below if you would like to see me make a video specifically on the gender and sexuality of our diwatas, the gods and goddesses of our ancestors, the deities from our indigenous traditions. Because I bet many of you saw posts on social media regarding the supposed trans and queer gods and goddesses like Lakapati, Libulan, and Sidapa. But there's so much more to learn about our diwatas than what we see on social media. I mean, there's so much more to say about this topic, but maybe we'll save those in future videos, and maybe even a future book. And speaking of books, my Know Our Roots #2 and Color Our Roots #2 about the fierce women of ancient Southeast Asia is now available for pre-order on my website. So don't forget to follow me on social media for more announcements and even special promos. Also check out the links below for more useful resources to learn more about gender and sexuality in the Philippines. And of course, before we go, today's shoutout goes to Naya Lauren from Metro Manila, Robbie Rizal Ismael from Malacca in Malaysia, and special shoutout to our dear friends Jeren Lim from Indonesia and Mika Guevara from Sacramento. Actually, if you like puzzles, if you love puzzles, check out Mika's social media in the links down below. And special shoutout and happy birthday to the one and only G Tonji. Maligayang kaarawan, or as we say in Kapampangan, masayang kayaldawan ning kekang kay Baitan. Happy birthday, G! And for those who are watching, check out and support the amazing work of Film Arts in LA. And that is it for me today. If you like this video and learn a thing or two, don't forget to like, share this video, comment down below, and please subscribe. And of course, special thanks to all my patrons for helping me make more videos like this through the years. And for those who want to help me make more videos like this, show your support and please be my patron or get a copy of any of my books or coloring books or any of the merch linked down below. Maraming salamat po. Daghang salamat. Terima kasih. Syukran abenal. Magsukol. Dakal pong salamat. See you next time, or in Tagalog, kita kits, and in Kapampangan, Mikitix!